Hi everyone. I apologize. I've just been having some technical difficulties. You know how it is when you're working with technology. There's it's less likely to go smoothly. So I'm just gonna respond to some messages. Hi, welcome. Just say hello in the chat. Please say hi in the chat and introduce yourself if you've joined me this evening. Thank you for setting time aside to join me in this conversation around menopause. I'm just going to play this video. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but it's called Hey Queen, and it inspires me a lot. Let's see.
Hey Queen. Hey Queen. Hey Queen. Sister. Girl, you've done it again. You are constantly raising the bar for all of us and doing so flawlessly. You do know that you're that girl, right? I hope that when you wake up in the morning and look in the mirror, you see how divine you are. Know that so many people want what you got. You have dreams to fulfill and promises to yourself that you must keep. I know at times you feel underappreciated and misvalued. Trust me, we've all been there. So it's necessary that you can count on yourself. Now, don't go seeking perfection. Extend yourself a little grace. Don't be afraid to celebrate the little wins as much as the big ones. You, Miss Thing, are courageous. You are dynamic. You are principled. So, baby girl, just remember, respect is a minimum. There's a sweet justice in knowing that the path you are on was designed for you and you alone. Doing right by yourself never goes out of style. Everything about you is majestic and a force to be reckoned with. Trust me, people are paying attention. You're special and worthy of praise. Don't shy away from it. And you don't have to get your groove back because guess what? You never lost it. It's also important to rest. Make sure your hustle doesn't get in the way of your health. Girl, take care of yourself. And the next time you want to second guess yourself, don't do it. So pause for a second right now and relax, relate, release. You are needed. You are appreciated. Girl, you make me so proud. And I love you. Remember, you are 100% that queen. Oh, yes.
Could you all hear that, ladies or gentlemen? Could you all hear that video? I love this video. It inspires me so much. Every time I feel like I am worried about something or I'm not at my best, this video really uplifts me. So thank you for joining in this conversation today. For the sake of time, we are going to crack on. So this video is going to be still on my Facebook post or on the top anyway. Is not going to get deleted. So if there's anyone that's missed this video and they're interested in hearing what I've got to say about menopause, don't worry, it's still going to be there. Afterwards I will download it and I'll put it on my YouTube channel, and that way you can watch it from there. I appreciate that Friday night is not the best day to do a Facebook Live, especially about health. It's been a long week and I think some people are going out, maybe going to work or something. So I really appreciate you being here with me today, and also those that will join me a bit later on. For those that may not know who I am, my name is Melissa and I am a mom. I am a mom of 3. I've got 3 amazing kids. I am a wife. I'm a nutritionist by profession. I've been a nutritionist for 6 years now. And my areas of specialty are diabetes prevention, women's health, weight loss. I'm currently a UN Women's UK delegate, so advocating for women's rights, for the future of our children. And also I'm a Diabetes UK volunteer, and my main role is to raise awareness of diabetes in our community or in communities. I'm currently doing my PhD in diabetes prevention, specifically in Africans. So that's me. Happy Women's Day. Today we're celebrating women, the women we are today, the women we have today, and also the women that have gone ahead of us. We are all standing on the shoulders of giants, and if it wasn't for those women, some of us wouldn't have the opportunities we have today. So we celebrate those. We're celebrating us, the ones that are here, putting in the hard work on a day-to-day basis, the women that are choosing to pick themselves up. Every time life knocks them down, they keep getting up again. So in terms of what we're going to be talking about today, we'll cover what menopause is for those that may not be familiar with it. We'll talk about why it's an important topic at the moment right now. I think for some people, they may feel like, wow, there's a lot of people talking about menopause. That's right. We'll talk about why that's important and why it's kind of a big topic or a fuss right now, and also how it affects women's health and how it's going to affect workplaces. So whether you're an employer or an employee, this is going to be important to you. As much as it's a topic for women, it's also good for men to tune in, because it just helps you become a supportive manager, a supportive work colleague, son, husband, etc. Menopause is just a natural phase that most women will go through. So it's good to have that knowledge beforehand. It's not something that was spoken of quite a lot the past few years, but it's starting to become quite popular. So it's good to know what it is about, because you might find yourself in a situation where you might have colleagues or staff going through menopause, or maybe your sister or your wife or your mom, etc. There's a lot of changes that come with that we will talk about. So feel free to comment below. I'll try to answer any questions. If not, I might have to comment after this event, or I might have to send you a message privately if it's something that you really need to speak about. Right, so what is menopause? So menopause derives from a Greek word, and it's broken down into two, which is menes and pause. And menes means month, pause means pause. It's from the word posi, and posi means cessation. It means to stop. So menopause is a phase when it's a stage in a woman's life when their regular periods stop for a complete 12 months. So this is when it completely stops, not for 2 months or 3 months, but the whole 12 months. And it happens as a result of the ovaries stopping to, they no longer produce follicles, and they don't produce any follicles at all. And it just happens, as women age. It starts around 45, between 45 and 55, but it can be different. At that phase, the hormone called estrogen is going up and down, and it causes a lot of issues in a woman's body. So let's touch up briefly on what estrogen is. It's a hormone, and it helps to control blood flow to the brain. It controls how a woman feels, or even men, they have a certain level of estrogen in their body. It controls bone formation, so how much bone you're building and how much bone you're losing. It controls how much fat you're burning, so in other terms, it controls your metabolism. And also it controls where fat goes. It helps to just regulate things. It works together with other hormones inside your body to direct where the fat goes, how it goes, and how long it's processed. Everything is processed for. So it's very important. So you can imagine if it's fluctuating up and down, all of these processes are being affected. So we'll look deeper into what exactly will be happening. So again, it starts between the ages of 45 to 55, but then it's different for everyone. So it happens in phases. For some women, they can start off by skipping a few months in between their monthly periods. And then for others, it can stop instantly. It's very, very different. There was a study that was done in 2022. It's called the SWAN study, and SWAN stands for Study of Women's Health Across the Nation. So it was done in the US, in the United States, and they looked at data for 10 years. And what they found was Black women, they entered menopause earlier compared to other ethnicities. And sorry, someone's sending me a message that the link is not working. Let me see if I can share. Sorry, guys. I'll have to share the video with them. So Black women tend to enter menopause earlier compared to some ethnicities, and also they experience certain symptoms a bit longer compared to others. And what they were assuming is because of maybe chronic stress, a buildup of long-term stress, maybe through from discrimination, racism from healthcare providers. It could be work, pressures of life. And also they assume that it may be because Black women may not necessarily seek for help, so they might just try to ride it out. We'll see how it goes. It's something that's until recently was not spoken of quite a lot. So now we'll see how it goes, you know, try what we can, manage the symptoms we can, and, you know, we'll just see how it goes kind of thing. And also they noticed that Black women were prescribed the hormone replacement therapy medication a bit less, and it's not known whether the healthcare professionals intentionally were not prescribing that medication to them, or they were choosing not to take that option. So this is why in some cases we experience longer you know, the phase of menopause a bit longer, and also the symptoms a bit more severe compared to others. But then if you are to go through menopause or enter menopause before the age of 45, you can talk to your GP, because there can be serious health issues if you are to enter menopause earlier. So speak to your GP. They can prescribe medication that's best for you in that time, so that it delays the process a little bit. We'll talk about the side effects of menopause, why also it might not be a good phase. In terms of what causes it or what can trigger it, aging. So yes, aging. The body is aging, so your ovaries are not able to produce or to work efficiently and produce things that it needs to produce at a certain time. So that again can trigger menopause. Smoking. When you're breathing in harmful substances, they damage the body. Damage the body to the extent that the blood flow is restricted. So things and nutrients and the blood flow are not going to certain parts of the body. So that affects how your body is going to work. Also, uterus removal. So for those that may have the uterus removed as a result of fibroids, for example, that can trigger menopause early, as well as cancer treatments. So people that have gone through cancer treatments, that can also trigger menopause early. So there's different things. It's not the same for everybody, but these are just examples, but it's not an exhaustive list. Okay, so there are 3 phases in which women go through. So you've got the perimenopause, which is when you start experiencing the symptoms, so maybe the skipping of the periods, the emotional. We'll talk about the symptoms a bit more just now, but it starts in phases, as I explained, that you're skipping, or maybe, a few months, and then you're feeling different, your physical appearance is changing, and then it now goes into menopause. And that process can take months, and for others it can even take years before you even get to menopause. It just comes down to sometimes genetic, maybe environment, and all the external factors that can affect your health. And then you get to the menopause, which is when now you have your final menstrual period for 12 months. It stops. And then you get into the postmenopausal phase, which is where now your period completely stops and your symptoms, they start to get better. They might not completely go away, but at least they're getting better. We'll talk about the symptoms in a minute. If you go on the Superdrug website, they do have what's it called? A menopause test kit. So if you're not sure, you might be experiencing certain things, and you're not sure, you can try that test kit. I'm not sure if it works properly, or it produces 100% results, but it's something you can try. Or the easy route is to make an appointment with your GP. They will do further tests and find out if it's the best, if you are going through menopause. And in terms of signs and symptoms, so there's different ones. They're going to be very different for different people. But in most cases, it's trouble concentrating, because again, estrogen, which is the hormone that mainly helps with blood flow and emotions, it's quite low at that time. So it's affecting the blood flow to the brain. So it's affecting how you're thinking. It's affecting you remembering things, making decisions. It's affecting your mood. You can seem irritable most of the times. Some women can feel quite sad a lot of the time. They can become pessimistic, so not very positive about their lives. They can also feel just like crying. So it's quite similar to pregnant women, to the symptoms that a pregnant woman will have, where you just feel like crying, you just cry. It can happen like that and not even know why. There's nothing that's really upset you, but you just feel like crying. And the breasts tend to be tender, or they can be painful, because again, the tissues, the hormone is affecting the tissues in the body. So again, it's affecting, how everything is working, and they can start to feel a bit sore. Some can experience some hot flashes. So hot flashes tend to be quite common. So this is when you're just you're feeling quite hot all of a sudden. They can experience some night sweats as well. So you're sleeping all at night, and your mattress is soaked. Those are some of the symptoms. So that can start affecting your sleep as well. Some women, they can start going to the toilet quite a lot during the night. It can be easily mistaken for type 2 diabetes, because it's quite similar in terms of going to the toilet, etc. But that's why it's important that when you start noticing these signs and symptoms, you speak to your GP. So going back to the signs and symptoms, if you're not sleeping very well, you're quite tired during the day, you don't have time to exercise, you don't have the energy to exercise, you don't feel like preparing healthy meals, sometimes they can take a bit of time, and also it affects your appetite. You can start to eat a bit more when you're not feeling completely yourself. That can lead to weight gain. You're not really feeling like going out to exercise. Weight gain can lead to other things, for example, feeling less confident with your body, type 2 diabetes, and also heart diseases. So there's a few things that can be affected as a result of a woman going through menopause. Some also can experience dry skin. The skin can get dry, dry vagina, which can lead to a decreased desire to engage in sexual activities, and also painful intercourse. So again, this is something we have to talk about. It's something we don't have to stigmatize, and it's also something we've got to vocalize and address so that people get the help that they need. And also, if you're noticing you're getting quite a lot of urinary tract infections, it's a sign that you need to have a conversation with your GP. All right, so we've touched upon what estrogen does and how it affects your body and what could be the consequences. Now, let's talk about the medication. So there's two different types of medication that your GP can prescribe. I'm sure there's many more, but I think at the moment there's two that have been mainly highlighted. So you've got the estrogen hormone replacement therapy, and it comes in different forms. It comes as a pill, it comes as implants, skin patches, topical sprays, gels, or you can get it as a combined medication where it's got both estrogen and progesterone. In terms of how long you can be on it for, you can be on the hormone replacement therapy for as long as you need, but your GP will decide how long you need to be on there for. They'll decide the dose. It's important that you discuss the side effects. And the reason why I've mentioned that is the GP that has got to prescribe this is because some people may have previous health issues. Some people may be on certain medication already, or they can have current health problems. And because of its side effects, you need to keep an eye. They need to keep an eye on you, just in case it interacts or interferes with the current medication, or it actually puts you at a more greater risk. So, for example, if you've got family history of stroke, heart attacks, then it might not be the best medication for you. However, that's a decision that your GP will have to make. There are some side effects that women have reported, and that include sore breasts, unexplained bleeding, increased risk of blood clots, etc. So make sure you discuss that with your GP. There may be some medication you may be needing to help with some symptoms. So, for example, antibiotics, they can help with urinary tract infections, so UTIs. You may need some antidepressants. I know there's stigma around antidepressants or SSRIs. However, they help with anxiety, depression, hot flashes, and mood changes. So if it's something you need, I suggest you speak to your GP. You don't have to be shy about it. You need to look after your health, and medication it's a tool, it's a resource that's there to help you feel better about yourself or whatever you're going through. So if that's what you need in that moment to feel better, and then go for it. You can discuss sleeping aids if it's something that they prescribe. If you're struggling with insomnia, you can talk about some lubricants. There's some hormonal ones, there's some non-hormonal ones. If you're experiencing any vaginal dryness, we did discuss that. There can be dryness around the skin. There's also some creams. So if you're experiencing hair growth in certain areas of your body, you can discuss that with your GP. They can talk about blood pressure, epilepsy medicine, etc. There's also body identical hormones that can be available. So there's loads of different options that have been tested, that have been shown that they can work. So it's really, really important that you discuss those options with your GP. Now, let's move on to diet and lifestyle. Okay. As much as this medication, there's also some foods that can make some of these symptoms worse. So remember the symptoms and signs we've covered. So, for example, the hot flashes, the night sweats, the mood swings, etc. There's some foods that can help. So let's talk about things that we can try to avoid. So processed carbs. So, for example, white rice, pasta, some traditional foods. So, for example, sadza, if you're from a different part of Africa, ugali, you call it. I'm not sure what other people will call it. But those are the two names I know. And also spicy foods, they can make symptoms worse, especially the hot flashes and the night sweats. Caffeine, too much salt, oils, etc. Processed foods, and alcohol and smoking, it just makes things worse. They just make things worse. So you can try to swap for like whole grain cereals, for example. So there's Weetabix, fruit and fiber oats. In the country you're in, you can explore the options that are there, something that is not highly processed. Herbal tea, so instead of caffeinated drinks, you can try some herbal teas. Green tea is good, but just be mindful that it contains caffeine. So if you drink it just before you go to bed, it might cause you to stay awake. So just be mindful of that. Hi, I can see there's a few people joining in. Hi, thank you for coming. Moving on, some foods that can help. Sweet potatoes instead of potatoes. So maybe you want to make some mash, or you want to make some chips, oven chips. They're a great alternative. And if you like your ugali or your sadza, then you can opt for the wholemeal one, the one that's got the shell, that's got everything in there that they didn't take any goodness out of. You can opt for sorghum or millet. I know when it comes to taste, it's not the best. A lot of people do not prefer sorghum or millet, but it's worth a try. Maybe you can try 50-50, mix it up, but at least that can help in terms of, nutrient wise, fiber wise, etc. Some fruits and vegetables. I think a lot of people know and they are aware that fruits and vegetables, they are good for your body, but they can also help replace some of the nutrients that your body is losing, and also compensate for some of the processes that are going on. There's also a lot of hype around soy products or soya products, but most of the studies have been done in South Asian women, and they found that the symptoms tend to be lower, and also the phase that they go through when they enter menopause, it tends to be smaller or lower. So you can try that. It might take 2 to 3 months for you to start noticing the benefits, but some swear by it. It's just up to you. It's down to your body. But they have shown that soy products like soy milk, soy bread, soy yogurt, it can relieve some of the hot flashes. But then again, it's got to be complemented with a good, healthy diet. Okay. Let's talk about supplements. I know there's a big chat and there's a lot of hype around supplements, women recommending supplements to one another. There's different ones. So we've got black cohosh, we've got St. John's wort, we've got red clover, we've got sage, magnesium supplements, and some Chinese herbs. Now, you've got to be careful because I know they're heavily marketed at the moment, and some are claiming that they help with reducing these symptoms, but some of them have not been checked in terms of safety and effectiveness. They might not be licensed, so it might be just a person or a company that just puts certain things together, pack it in a nice packaging and put it on the shelf. It's not been tested, it's not been licensed. It can be an issue. It may interrupt with some of your medication. They might even contain some poor quality ingredients in there. So although they claim to have A, B, C, and D to help relieve some symptoms, and they may take a piece of evidence from a certain paper and stick in front of their label or in front of their packaging, it doesn't mean it's got the good quality ingredients that you need to get the effectiveness. So just be careful. It can come at an extra expense as well. Some of them can be like £20 for 30 or more, depending on the brand. So just be careful. So you can check for the product to make sure that it's licensed. There is always a number, or they'll put a label. Just be careful. There might be a risk of overdosing as well, depending on how many you've got to take. So it just comes down to everything, you speak to your GP if you're on a current medication, if you've got any health issues or any family history. Just make sure you double check anything. Speak to a pharmacist if you can. They might give you a bit of guidelines, but then again, it's always better to discuss with your GP, because a pharmacist might not know of any, or might not be aware of any current health issues or problems you have, or any current medication you're on. So they might not give you all the information you need. They might refer you to your GP. And also remember, even if supplements claim to be natural, it doesn't mean that they are completely harmless. Yeah, something that's natural can also be toxic, can also be harmful for your body. So be careful when you see that label stuck on there, on the packaging, that it's natural. It doesn't mean that it's okay or it's beneficial or it's protective. So that's something to be careful of. Some of these nutrients that they're claiming they've packed in their boxes or in their packages, you can easily get them through food. So the foods such as whole grains, spinach, green leafy vegetables, your kale, your nuts. I know there's a stigma also around nuts and beans. It's associated with poverty or, people that earn less, but it actually is healthy for your body. The greens, the meat, the poultry, they do contain that magnesium that your body requires. So if you eat enough, you can still get what you need. I know also that people tend to think that healthy eating can be quite expensive, but there's also supermarkets that are selling, reasonable, cheap foods or reasonable priced foods that allows you to still eat healthily. And then when it comes to weight reduction, because your metabolism has slowed down. So when we say metabolism, we're talking about how fast your food is being burned down by your body and where your food is going. That's metabolism in a nutshell. It tends to slow down, so that can easily lead to weight gain. And remember, we did speak about appetite growing. We spoke about you don't feel like going out, you don't feel like exercising, your mood is off, you're not getting enough sleep, you just want to eat anything, your taste buds are changing. There's a lot that's changing. So that can easily lead to weight gain. So that's why a lot of women who are towards their early 40s, late 40s, early 50s, they struggle with weight loss is because of that. So it's literally hormones against weight. That's what's going on. But some of the things that you can do to help cut down on your weight or reduce your weight is cutting down on your sugar. So sugar in processed foods, sugar in your tea. I know us, most Africans, we do like our sugar in our teas, cakes, etc. Just keep an eye on that. And also cut down on fat. So it could be the amount of oil you're adding to your food. It could be your cooking methods. It could be the amount of fat that's on your meat as well. So for example, chicken, the skin tends to have a lot of fat. And your beef or your pork, you can just cut out the visible fat you're seeing. So every little is going to make a difference. Trying to eat less of processed carbs. So the carbs we've mentioned, the white rice, the white pasta, the sadza, or ugali, etc. And eat more of the less processed foods or meals, because when it's less processed, it takes more time for your body to digest it or to process it. So as a result, you're going to feel fuller for longer. So for example, a person who has oats for breakfast compared to a person who's had cornflakes for breakfast, one person is going to feel fuller for longer. And a person who's had, let's say, toast, wholemeal toast, not brown toast, wholemeal toast, and a person who's had white toast, you're going to be, feeling full for at different times. So that's something to be mindful of. Drinking a lot of water, it helps. It's not only good for the dry skin or the dry, the vaginal dryness, but it's also good in the sense that your body tends to confuse whether you're hungry or you're thirsty. And most people, sometimes we eat more than we need to because we think we are hungry, but actually your body is just trying to tell you that you need fluids. So always try water first. And then you've got moving more. It helps with shedding down a bit of weight. So it might not be exercising, jogging and doing all these heavy exercises that you would like to do or other people would recommend, but it could be taking walks, something that's gentle to just keep you going, to just get the metabolism, the system waking up and getting ready to, to just get everything moving. That's why moving more is helpful. As much as you might not feel like it because maybe you're not getting enough sleep, you're eating a bit more, you're putting on more weight, just put in that effort. Start slowly, one day at a time, or even 1 week at a time. Every little is going to make a difference. Now, if you've got any questions, feel free. If you're enjoying this, just give me a heart or a like so that I know you're still engaged. Thank you so much. Now, we cannot talk about medication and talk about lifestyle and diet without talking about self-care. Okay? It's important to look after ourselves so that we're able to look after those around us. So self-care is important, and self-care means different things for different people. You know what it means to look after yourself and what you need to do to look after yourself. So it could be talking to your friends and family about your symptoms. It could be talking to a therapist, for example. We've got NHS talking therapy. You don't need to go to the GP for that. You just go onto the NHS website. If you need the link, give me a thumbs up, give me a high five, just say link, or send me a message. I can send you the link. So they will give you therapy sessions based on the problems you're experiencing, and it can be 5 to 20 sessions, and each session can be half an hour to an hour depending on your needs. Or it can be a self-help session where you've got a workbook or a computer program where you're going through with the help of a therapist. So you are more in charge of it than they are, but they're there to just help you understand your problems and give you the tools and techniques you just need to tackle whatever it is you're going through at that time. You can also call the Samaritans, and it's a free number you can ring on your phone, 116123. If you need to speak to somebody, please reach out and speak to someone. Just call that number. If you need that number, someone write in the chat for me, 116123. If you're with me, can I see you writing 116123? Also, invest in your hobbies. Look around your city, talk to your friends, see if there's anything they've tried that has helped. Look around on Facebook, look around on Google, see if there's any events or activities you can do. Sometimes they can be free events. There's a lot of community interest companies right now. They're trying to reach out to people and doing free or low cost activities that you can engage in. If you're a person of faith or a woman of faith, praying can help with dealing with some of these emotions, etc. I actually met a woman at church who said she prayed and all the symptoms went. So I don't know. It's just up to you. What works for you is what's best. And also reframe how you view menopause. Do not look at it as a negative experience. For example, if a woman is pregnant and she's going through whatever she's going through, yes, there's those negative symptoms, but there's also a good thing going on. So you're aging and it's just a natural phase in your life. So there are some studies that show that if you view it negatively, your symptoms are going to be worse. So it's really how you view it and how you see it plays a key role in how long you experience the symptoms and how often you experience those symptoms. Now, I'm going to the place where we're going to talk about menopause in workplaces. What has changed? So this conversation, it's happened last year, January 2023, when the government was responding to some of the recommendations that were made by the Women and Equalities Committee. So they published a report the year before, July 2022, and it took until January 2023 for the government to respond to that. And as usual, most of them were rejected based on the fact that they may seem discriminatory to men. But they made a few recommendations, and they said that they can appoint a menopause ambassador, launch menopause awareness campaigns, cut down the cost of hormone replacement therapy medications, and also People can request flexible working hours when they're experiencing these symptoms, which is great. So what does that mean for you as an employee? Talk to your manager if you're experiencing these symptoms, and if your GP has said you've entered perimenopause or menopause. Speak to your employer. It's going to affect how you feel. If you feel it's impacting your work, discuss that with your manager. And also you can see if they can make adjustments to help you cope, whether it's working from home or managing your workload, so that, you know, it just makes it easier for you. It can be difficult for Black women to talk about what's impacting their work, because I think most people prefer leaving whatever they're going through at home and come and work. But then this is something that's impacting you. It's impacting the way you work, how much you would like to be working. Maybe you're not able to work as much. So it's really worth having that conversation with them. Employers now are aware of menopause and the symptoms and the impact it can have on an employee. So it's not going to be something new or something unusual or something they are not aware of. It's something they're aware of, and you can discuss that with them. So what can employers do? They can accommodate absences. So if you need time off, they can adjust your workload. They can provide education and training to other colleagues, to the workplace, raise awareness. They can review, they actually are supposed to be reviewing policies, such as sickness policies and absence policies. So I know that when it comes to pregnancy, for example, if you've got any pregnancy related issues, it's not classified as sickness. So it's a similar issue that if you're struggling with menopausal symptoms, it's not classified as a sickness. It's not like flu. It's not like anything else that you'd call in sick for. This is a long-term illness, health issue that's going to impact you. So it's not an illness. So you are required, or they're expected to put in something in place for you to adjust their policies to accommodate you. They can offer courses on stress management. Again, emotions are not on their best, so they can talk about that. Also, self-care strategies, they can inform you on exercise, etc. And also encouraging open communication about menopause. They should do that. You should feel comfortable to go to your employer or to your HR or manager and say, hey, this is what the GP said I'm going through. I've entered menopause. This is what I'm experiencing. I've not been feeling the same, etc. It should be a space where you feel safe to speak about those things. So, we've spoken quite a lot. We've covered quite a lot about menopause. We've spoken about what it is. So menopause, in a nutshell, it's when a woman stops having their period for a good 12 months, 1 good year without anything. If there's any spotting in between, then it's encouraged to speak to your GP. And it happens as a result of estrogen, a hormone that drops, and then it has an impact on your mental well-being and also your physical well-being. It affects how much you want to exercise, how much energy you've got to cook. It affects how you feel about yourself, how you're thinking about certain things. So it plays a crucial role in your day-to-day life. So it's important that you tune into yourself, into your body, and you do what it takes, or you take the necessary steps to look after yourself. Again, it happens over months. It also happens over a few years. It's different it's different with everyone. It comes down to your genetics, family history, for example. It comes down to your lifestyle. So if you're smoking, if you've had the uterus removed, if you've had cancer treatment, and all sorts of things, then it can trigger menopause a bit early. Symptoms are different depending on each person. There are some common ones, such as hot flashes, night sweats, going to the toilet, but they can be different. It doesn't mean that if the person next to you is not experiencing them, they're not going through menopause. It manifests in many, many different ways. So it's going to be different for you. And also Black women, it tends to affect us a bit more seriously and a bit more earlier. And it's suggested that is down to, the stresses of life we go through compared to other ethnicities. And also speak to your GP, reach out, speak to your friends and family, and be aware and be cautious when you're trying supplements, off-the-shelf supplements. Speak to a pharmacist before you purchase anything. Speak to your GP if you've got any family history of stroke and heart attacks or any current health issues, or you're on current medication, and they can give you advice. But in most cases, medication has been tested and proven, to be safe compared to some supplements. They might not be licensed, or they might not have been tested for a long period of time. If you need resources, or if you need links to a cookbook that has healthy ways of cooking meals or African meals, feel free to comment or to send me a message. Or if you need a link to the menopause test kit on the Superdrug website, send me a message. If you need a link to the NHS Talk Therapy website, feel free to send me a message. And also meal plans that's got African foods as well. If you need an example, a 1-week meal plan, I can send that to you. If you also need information or the paper of the SWAN study that I've just mentioned, study of women's health, you can send me a message and I can send that to you. So that's it for now. If you're still with me, please just give me a thumbs up or a heart or a like if you've enjoyed this session. You're going to be seeing my face a few more times this year. I've got a few more topics that I think I would like to cover. But then this video, if you need to go through certain points again, it's going to be available on my Facebook page or on my account. You can rewatch it, or you will see it on YouTube. You can see view on there. You can watch it on there. You can send it to your friends and family if they need to understand certain things. I think so far it's a common topic, but then again, there might be some things that I have covered that's not been covered. But thank you so much. Thank you for the hearts and thank you for the likes. I appreciate you for tuning in on a Friday evening. I wish you a lovely weekend, and I hope you continue to enjoy International Women's Day. Continue to celebrate yourself. The celebration doesn't finish today. It continues. We've got the whole month, ladies. We've got the whole month to just celebrate us, to focus on self-care. And again, whatever self-care means to you, go for it, as long as, you're responsible. Look after yourself so that you've got the energy and you're able to look after the ones that are around you, the ones that are looking up to you. So continue looking after you, continue focusing on yourself, continue speaking, be brave to speak to employers, be brave to speak to your GPs. If you need those antidepressants, if you need those SSRIs, reach out. If you need to make changes to your diet so that you can be better, go for it. Go for it, girl. Go for it. Don't shy away from eating healthily, from living a healthy lifestyle and being responsible. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see each other next time. Take care.